right, welcome to another episode of Rheminiscing with me, Dr. Tony Rem, where we explore artificial intelligence, past, present, and the possible. Today, my guest, an amazing guy, right? Chris Bosco of Act Digital. And before we get into our conversation about fractional executives, let me introduce you to this amazing person I got here. Chris Bosco is the CCO. Chris, tell me what a CCO is.
We coined it Chief Commercial Officer.
Chief Commercial Officer. I want to make sure I get those initials right.
Yep.
He's responsible for developing innovative new Act Digital consulting products and services while leading the overall marketing, sales, and go-to-market strategies. His role involves driving revenue, growth, and ensuring the success of commercial offerings. That's a huge undertaking. As the executive principal, he is also a fractional executive, assisting clients to succeed by utilizing his experience over 25 years of executive leadership. Fantastic. In digital commerce, social strategy, complex technology, delivering operations, business and change transformation, product development, and planning. And I know from my perspective, I'm gonna get your take on this. As someone that is also a IEEE certified lead assessor for AI algorithms, one of the things that we do in assessing algorithms, we look at the data that's coming in.
Yeah.
And we look for the AI solution to be have transparency and have some level of explainability. How did you get to this answer?
Oh, yes.
And it's like in your example, the person actually was like, okay, this looked funny. That would be some of the same stuff we do as assessors to see, okay, do you have those things in place to tell me if this, how your algorithm get to this decision? Is it ethical? Is it harming any group? Is it some disproportionate thing that you're doing that's causing the answers to be skewed a certain way?
Bias.
That's the bias that's being detected. So we look at all of that, and it comes to a point where at the end of the day, we go back to the data.
You have to. It's funny. I love, and that's what I love. And you always are talking in the right ways in my book as to what people really should be at the root concerned with, right? And transparency is one of the biggest ones when it comes to these things. In my role as a fractional CIO, we had some products brought to us. And of course, every third party is pumping in AI, right? They're grabbing Claude, they're just throwing it in the background and saying, we have AI, right? And one of the major things I say to them is, great, show me transparency as to what is the algorithm, how are you calculating that? Because at the end, you're presenting it as a fact to my individuals, my employees. You're presenting it as in that's your answer. Well, I need to know how you derived that answer so I know, is it our answer? Is it the right answer that we need? But if I don't know how you got there, it's a answer, right? But too often, right, these companies are putting it in, establishing it, not giving you that transparency. My favorite answer, by the way, the last company I evaluated, they looked at me blankly and said, well, what do you mean? And I'm like, well, that's the problem.
Yeah. When
you don't know what I mean is I need to know how you got from A to Z in this process flow with what data and why you did that, because otherwise, how do I know that just because you say that that's the end answer, that it is, right?
Exactly.
So transparency is to me, one of those keys that I talk about. And in fact, I'm also right now teaching graduate marketing at UMKC, and and I love it and I do it. But one of my classes is on AI, and I want to have you, by the way, talk as part of what I want to talk to you about after this. Is I present to them the challenges of AI in marketing. One of the biggest ones I talk about is everything you said: data, transparency, understanding the outcomes and why. Mm-hmm. Forget about, again, that AI is going to take your job. Let's start with the fact that regardless if you're using AI, which you're going to,
right,
you got to understand these things, right?
Exactly. And it was always my thing when you're using AI is to have you. A lot of times you are the subject matter expert. If you're using AI for what you're working on and you scrutinize what the AI is delivering you as far as decisions, you're looking at it, you're like, that don't look right. Maybe it's my prompt is wrong. Maybe it's the data's wrong. You got to be your own SME, right? And so with any AI application, that at an organization, you bring together those subject matter experts to be able to discern if this is delivering what it is intended to deliver. I've been involved in developing a non-small cell lung cancer analysis product.
Yeah, beautiful.
I'm not a cancer doctor or oncologist. I've learned a lot more about it than I ever thought I would. But on our team, we had a practicing oncologist, right? So they can, right? They're the subject matter experts, so they can say, "Well, Tony, this is right. Oh no, we need to look at this. Oh, we need to bring this additional data in because this is not aligning with what we have been doing lately in the research." That's a prime example of having a subject matter expert that understanding what the inputs and outputs should be, and scrutinize the decisions coming from the AI application to make sure that it is correct or it is aligning with what the data is giving them.
And you test it, right? I'm assuming that through that you gave it the right information that you already knew the answer to.
Yeah, you
right to see if it came up with that.
That's part of the training the algorithm. You train it on. Say you train it on, in this case, clinical trial data that you already know some of the results of the clinical trial data.
Yeah.
And you see what's the outcome? Is it 90% true? What they landed with is 100%? Is it 60%? So you just keep training until you get to a level of understanding that is giving you what you want. So it's the same process. It works.
Again, this is what I use in my classroom, but there's two scenarios I have to help practically understand that. One of it is I gave one of the open market AI solutions the opportunity to help me with a balance sheet, right? I knew all the information. I wanted to see what it could do, to see if it could help me make balance sheets quicker, faster, better, without me having to structure everything and educate it, right, in finance. I just wanted to see. And I gave it all the data as I would, all the information. Again, I already knew what the outcome was, and I looked at it at the end and went, that's absolutely wrong. I went back because I asked it, take me through exactly what you did, step by step. And as I looked at it, it got addition wrong. It literally added A plus B that should equal C, and it equaled pi. And I'm going like, and I told it, this is my favorite, please double check. I believe you got addition wrong. Well, of course, what did it respond with? Oh, you're absolutely right. You caught me. You're so smart. I don't need you placating me.
Right, exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
I need you to get math right. But if I hadn't tested against an outcome that I knew, right, for that scenario, how would I have known that it got it wrong? Because I would have trusted the fact that the answer, because I would have assumed.
The AI knew the answer.
The AI knew the answer. The other one is everybody talks about how it's going to help with coding. Well, just this week I used it for a coding experiment, right? Again, I already knew how to code in Liquid for a website, and I was coding for it. And I said, I wonder if there's a different way to use these variables to get the outcome. And I asked it, and it gave me some code. And I pasted it, put it in before. And right when I was doing it, I looked at it and went, whoa, whoa, whoa. I said, excuse me, I believe you've hard-coded this value such that the answer will always be that. And that's not what I wanted. And again, it says, oh, yeah, you caught me. I did hard-code that. So you're absolutely right that every time this is evaluated, it will always be this default hard code. Again, if I didn't know coding, if I didn't know how to validate that, how would I know? So I love the way it's validation, test, and transparency is the key no matter what, because what is it going to come up with? You don't know.
Right, absolutely. That's why what we do as assessors, and that's really what we're talking about. That's software development 101. Those are things that you would know always do regardless, because we've been doing this for a long time. It's been ingrained in us ever since school.
Yep.
And then working at all these different companies and going through all these solutions over all these couple of decades we've been doing this. What, 2-3 decades we've been doing this.
It's scary, man, when you think about it.
Yeah. And,
right?
Yeah. And I just shake my head and I said, man, does anybody test anymore? Does anybody look at the holistic end-to-end, understanding of how to develop software?
Well, we've all been, those of us that did do coding back in the day, again, it's crazy to say 30 years ago, but everybody knows a improperly placed colon, how it's going to screw up
Oh
your
my
entire
God,
code.
man.
And then you are reading line by line by line, looking for that one thing that's wrong, and it's a colon. I once spent a whole day looking for one colon in someone's code. And I wasn't looking for it because I knew it was there. I just was trying to figure
going
out
through it. Right,
why was it not
right.
working? One colon. So again, to your point is I think that there's something to be said about, hey, if you dug a ditch, you know what the things to do to dig the ditch well, not well. You've learned where to shovel, not to shovel, and you learn the basic principles that you're going to apply every time.
Yeah, and I think that's the key of what we're talking about. You know, as professional executives, we bring a whole host of experience that most people won't look for when you are analyzing and understanding, is this product being delivered the right way? Is this service being done? Do you dot all the I's, cross all the T's? Is this AI solution the right one? We bring that whole host of understanding where we know what to do at different stages of this software development life cycle. Like you said, it could be Scrum. That was cracked up about.
Yeah.
I know one of my colleagues, when they did like waterfall and Scrum, they call it water scrumming. You know,
Yep. Everybody loves to come up with something, right?
You know, and that's the understanding of how you do stuff.
Yeah.
And so we used to delivering things that work. And
Absolutely.
the other thing I look for, you know, as coming in with our host of experience, and experience is great. I always want to leave that knowledge with whoever's taken over.
Yep.
You know, and that's
knowledge transfer,
and that's key, right? But the whole thing is coming from the beginning with that level of understanding, and I think we need more of that, you know, meticulous, structured, you know, thinking to say, okay, this is how we say it and do this for a reason.
Yeah.
You know, so we can deliver that solution that works on the other end.
You know, and what you said there's two things I think out of that you just highlighted. One of it is the structure and helping to impart it on others. Is that's what we need to know, again, is figure out which pieces, again, mattered or didn't matter. Just because you did it doesn't mean it necessarily is the right thing to do again, right?
Right. Exactly.
Prevent somebody else from getting the scar
Right,
on the
exactly.
head, right? Say, hey, don't bang your head against the wall. I've done it.
Right.
But being able to educate is key. The transition, the knowledge sharing, and wanting to do that, though. Wanting to do that is what I find a lot of people missing, is wanting to understand and communicate that. The second part you mentioned, though, is the experience. Well, there's wisdom and experience, right? And to me, one of the biggest things in wisdom, and especially in the technology or any space in business space, is, you've got the 25, 30 years experience, but you're still eager to learn and apply and say where it doesn't fit and it's wrong. And I think that's another mindset that we need to address as well, is there's a lot of people that they're okay being done. They don't want to continue to learn the next stage and how to apply it and evolve it. Right. We're talking about where you are constantly trying to look at what's next, what's on the horizon, how can I apply it into what I'm doing today? Where do some of my lessons learn? Make it better?
Absolutely.
But that takes a certain person and a certain appetite for wanting to constantly learn, be challenged, and do it. And it's not everybody. Just because you have 30 plus years experience doesn't mean you know what's going on. Right. It just means you knew what was going on 30 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah, like you said, you got to have continuously learn and continuously apply. One of the things we did, and this really sparks something for me, is that in the governance side, and it's always that talk about you slowing down the implementation of AI, whatever, with all this governance. What I do is I always preach minimal viable governance.
That's a nice way to put it. So MVG,
because I'm not trying to bog you down with process and this and the other, so you can't deliver. To your point earlier, it's about understanding where you need to mostly apply this and where you don't really need to, be concerned about it.
Right.
It's that those checks and balances that will give you the most bang for your buck to deliver what you need without holding you down, without holding you hostage. I call it minimal viable governance.
I like that.
But it has all the checkpoints. If you know the IEEE framework, you know the ISO IEC framework. You know the NIST risk management framework. You know how a lot of commonalities between the two, and you know what solution you're developing. You're like, oh yeah, I need this. I don't need that. I need this. I don't need that. And you streamline it.
Yeah, prioritize it.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
You don't bog anybody down with all this process and governance for what? If it's not going to even be necessary.
Well, that's the biggest problem, right? The process engineering 101 is do not do a process for the sake of doing a process, right?
Absolutely.
Process for process sake, government for government's sake. Any term you want to use doesn't make sense, right?
Yeah.
And I love that you do that. I love MVG. I'm going to steal that.
Yeah, that's my thing.
You got to put a big old copyright on that.
Copyright on it? Yeah, you know, I give it to you.
I appreciate it.
free.
Man.
No
but
problem.
I think that's a beautiful way to say it, though, is by industry, by company, by outcome, understanding what is that is different.
It is different.
And coming up with it to understand, look, not trying to make this bulletproof because I'm never going to, right? The company can't sustain bulletproof. No company can audit to the level of bulletproof.
Absolutely.
But where are the ones you just can't fall down on, right? Where are the things in your company, with your data, with your situation? I agree with you totally, right? You got to get these right.
Got to get these right. Absolutely.
Yeah, I love that.
And so I know we kind of touch on a lot of different tentacles when you talk about, fractional executives, the experience we bring into to the table, depending on the level which you come in, the things we bring in as far as our experience and how we can connect the dots. It's all this is within our ecosystem of being able to assist an organization in a more expeditious manner and a more pragmatic manner than what they would normally get if they try to go and hire a person, full time in that position. Another question for you is that, do you see in this fractional executive world where a fractional exec could come in and then sort of train the next guy or a person to come in and fill that role when that fractional exec moves out?
Absolutely. In fact, done that.
Okay.
Where coming in as an intern because somebody had to leave for whatever reason quickly, coming in and taking the reins, operationalizing, keeping the lights on, while at the same time tackling a couple strategic elements, helping them get on path, but also helping them identify the next person.
Right.
Define what's the job description. Is it the same job description as the person who's not there anymore? A lot of times not after you've gone through it and done what the company wants to do. So write the job description, help them identify the right candidates, help them interview, done that, right? Help them negotiate, bringing the person on, and then finally helping the KT, right? Bringing that person into the fold, helping augment them during that time of transition and making sure they're going to be successful, right? And shortening even that time, right? Because if you can come in and you already know, because of your experience, what there is, what there isn't, what to look for, what not to look for, and what to train them on, you can hopefully concatenate that down versus that 6 to 9 month process.
Right.
So yeah, absolutely. In fact, to me, that's one of the biggest values you can also get out of it is that interim help to help you bridge and get to somebody that's going to take that role in a long-term perspective and help do that. And that's what a lot of us want to do, right?
Exactly. I'm always at that analogy you put together before, teach a man the fish he'll eat.
He'll eat forever.
Yeah,
right.
You just feed a man a fish to eat for that day. I'm always trying to to your point teach and give him that ability to move forward, and in doing so has that in my experience. I want your opinion on this. In your experience, how does organizations look at that? How do they value that perspective of being able to teach that person and then move on or whatever? How do organizations value that, and what's the outcome from doing something like that?
I think that's probably one of the challenges of this is finding that company that gets it and understands what we're talking about as to what those values of doing it this way are.
Right.
And that's probably been the more difficult area. Is it's real easy to fall back on tradition. I've had companies at the highest level say, we love this model, we love this idea, and wow, that could really help us accelerate our AI vision and capability. But then when they go to execute on it, they allow their standard legacy processes to get in the way, and they just throw up their hands and go, well, it's too hard to do something different or new. I'll just go back to waiting 8 months to hire somebody. And I think that's more the challenge. honestly, in this particular field is
Right.
fighting that stoic methodology of I need to find a title person, I need to pay them full time, and I need them to basically be here even if they're not doing anything because I need to have them on retainer. I need to pay a full-time salary so that I have the privilege of having that person in the chair full-time when I need them versus, well, do you? You could still have access to somebody.
Right.
Somebody's doing the operational role, but isn't during the rest of the time filling the role with just meetings or spreadsheets, but instead really focused on helping you. It's like distilling it down to its real essence of the role and executing that rather than filling it with the rest of the noise. But that takes a company that recognizes it and agrees with the value of it. I think that's the difficulty, right?
Absolutely.
And you got to find those that want to do this. And that's part of what we talk to our clients about is understanding through these scenarios, talking them through what it looks like, what does a day in the life happen, talk through their needs, and really test them on it to see it's kind of the interviewing on both ends. We're interviewing our clients to know if we're really going to be successful. Because nothing's worse than dropping somebody in, not going through that, and everybody fails.
Yeah.
Because it's not what they want, they're not ready for it, we're not able to be successful. Why do that? Take a little due diligence up front, figure out, hey, are we a cultural match for what we're trying to do here? If we are, great, then let's go make magic happen.
Right.
If we're not, then it's okay. We're here to help in any other way we can. And I think that's the key.
And you said something, I think, very important here. I'll be a match. And then I would follow up. I said, if we not a match, what makes us not a match?
Yeah.
Is it something that, because one thing we do in AI is AI readiness.
Yeah.
Is your organization ready for AI?
Yeah.
From a cultural perspective, right?
Are you ready to receive it?
Right. You just said that sometimes they fall back to the old ways of doing things.
Just because you give somebody something doesn't mean they're going to use it.
Exactly.
And yeah, the readiness, that's the key phrase.
Yeah. So, it's like, everybody wants a new shiny toy, but are you ready to even leverage that?
Yeah.
Utilize it the right way. Is your environment ready? Are you as a company and culturally ready for that and what it takes?
And many people will use the excuse in my book of, but we need it anyway, whether we're ready or not. Well, that's fine, but let's talk about how then we can get you ready. Maybe it's not the whole company, right?
Absolutely.
Maybe it's a pocket of the company that has a beautiful use case. They're motivated to get there. Let's not try to shove this to the corporation. Let's do it in a sophisticated change management rollout method.
Absolutely.
Right?
That's brilliant.
And build that success. And then you're also able to take those success stories to others to get them excited about doing it, where you get the naysayer that says, oh, it's not going to help me out.
Right.
Well, if you could show them their peer and give them a real use case from their company and say, look, here's exactly what it's doing with your data in your environment using this tool. What else I got to do for you?
Right.
If they still say no, then again, why are you forcing it? Because they're not going to use it well.
Right.
Anyway.
You're just wasting your time and money.
You're again, the old beating the head against the wall. It's flat for a reason right there. I don't need to do it anymore.
But that educates the leadership.
It's got to be top down, bottom up.
Yeah.
I always believe in that too. I think top down never fully works. Bottom up never fully works. I do believe it's got to be a hybrid in any company to get success when you're doing that kind of large scale change. Right.
Exactly. And to your point, you get one area doing well on it, another area may want it. I ran into a situation several times where we came in, we delivered on this one area, they having success. Another area finds out about it. Hey, we want some of that too. We want to do that too.
They get jealous.
Right? Exactly.
Yeah.
And then, I know we came in and did this for an organization, and then we got called back to do it for another team. It was like, sort of kind of competition.
Yeah.
And we want hey, Tony, we want the same thing you guys did for them. We want to do it for us.
I love that.
And we delivered the same, and they were kicking butt too.
Yeah.
Then it's like, oh, wow, this really is great. This works.
I love that.
Right? So, and it's one of those things that then the company, the leadership looks at it, oh, wow, we need to have this spread across the organization.
Use cases that are relevant and within their own organization are the best selling point.
Absolutely.
We can talk till you're blue in the face about what it could do, what it can do, what it espouses to do. You show them, and you have their peers also show them. That you can't get better than that.
That's powerful,
Right.
and that's almost what from a fractional leadership role. Like you said, if you're not quite ready, maybe we want to do something small
Exactly.
to prove it out.
Right. It doesn't have to be the all or one.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's,
Exactly.
again, find a way to work together to meet your goal. And maybe that's not the right way. Or maybe bringing in Tony, you're not ready for that. It's too much.
Right.
It's overkill. It's, what do they say? Using a nuke to kill the mosquito.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
Okay, fine. Well, let's talk a different way about how we could help and get you there. Right? It doesn't have to be that. Let's talk about how we mold it into the outcome you need.
Exactly.
And again, to do that, you need to have the network of individuals that you can tap into to offer the different avenues. Otherwise, it is only the hammer that you have,
Right.
and you're going to go find a nail.
Everything's a nail.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
So as we close, first of all, great have you here.
I loved it, man.
You
I loved it. Thank you for having me.
Talking with you, we can talk about this forever.
Amen.
Act Digital and how Act Digital has got here. What do you see as the future for fractional executives and some of the things that you like to personally get into?
You know, that's a great question. I think where we got here was, again, like I said in the beginning, was that idea that we saw a gap. And we started to see a lot of people that wanted to offer this
Right.
and people that needed it, but the just connection wasn't there, right? And because of our unique position in our relationships, in our network, we were able to offer that at speed again to be able to make those connections very fluidly. Where we were already making the connections as the unicorn hunters with contract resources, developers, architects, project managers, HR executives, right? All those different roles that we were able to fill that aren't this type of role, but still find that network, find that person within a week, 2 weeks, get somebody on board doing work. How did we do that with the Fractional? How do we do that with executive level? How do we get that same level of finding that perfect match and getting them there immediately to create change? And I think that's where we saw it. We attacked it. To be honest, it took a while because test and learn. When I implemented the program, I didn't know what the market wanted because there was no other model to look at, to model it after, really. So we took it out there, saw who liked it, learned from that, got feedback on what they liked and didn't like, and then molded what we have today into that model. So I think that's the evolution we went through, was the idea, just like anything else, ideation,
Yeah.
right? Maturity, validation, test and learn, and then continue with it. I think where it's going is a couple places. I think one place is it's offering the scale of it
Right.
throughout the different industries, throughout the different unique areas where it's not just a subset of small individuals. We've grown our network tremendously and able to probably say yes to any ask versus before. There were times when we did have to say, I don't quite know somebody in that space, or, I may not be able to get it to you. The other one is incorporating AI. We've built some agentic agents to help augment our people that come with it. So we can help not just with the individual, but the individual comes with some AI tools possibly in the space that they're working in to help expedite the process.
Okay, I'm gonna stop you right there. Did I hear something? Did I hear something right? You hired an exec and the exec's AI agent.
We are incorporating that right now. Yes.
And man, that's fantastic. That's and fascinating. And what kind of aligns with what I've been preaching the last year or so about the folks that understand how to use AI will be the ones that are moving forward versus the ones that don't want to use AI or afraid of it. And you're saying that you bring in Act Digital executives, you're bringing along their AI as well to help them augment what they're doing for your organization. That is fantastic.
So, for example, we built one that was a BA agent, right? Be able to write use cases, user stories, and those kind of things. Because again, we already have the knowledge. We know where it's at. There's time spent on doing that doesn't need to be spent, right? Instead, get that done, get that draft completed, and let the individual who has the experience and knowledge review it, come up with a final product, analyze it, and add that value rather than spending time, as we all know, doing a spreadsheet with 500 requirements in it, right? So it's a great example of, again, how do you get that value of the person to what they really need to do and how they can impact change, rather than spending the energy doing things that honestly could be rote tasks. So again, it's always trying to look at how we can do things better for our clients in the right way. And I think that's where our future really lies, is how do we lean in to do more than just offering an individual? How do we offer a solution, right?
Absolutely.
How do we absolutely solve the problem? So it's not just about, well, here's Jimmy and Jimmy will solve problem A. It's here's a solution that will solve your problem. Oh, by the way, it's powered by Jimmy. And that's how I think that has to evolve, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. And powered by Jimmy and his nice AI assistant on the side.
Amen. Amen. Got to have something, right?
That's the differentiator. Everybody doesn't come with their own AI assistant.
Yeah.
So that's matter of fact, my podcast here, I have an AI co-host, Georgia.
Oh, really?
Yes. Unfortunately, well, not it's not unfortunately, but since you're here, we spend more our time, engaging with the amazing Chris Bosco.
Well,
but
it's going to surprise everybody to know that I'm an AI deep fake. So I'm just here.
Don't say that. No. He is not. He's a real person.
There we go.
Okay. And so my AI co-host interacts with me when I usually don't have a guest.
Excellent.
And that is a whole interesting conversation as well. I know. So when people tune in to other episodes on the Rheminiscing podcast, you'll hear my conversation with my AI co-host. So that's sort of
genius.
That's sort of the
genius.
The podcast AI assistant. So
it's just finding those opportunities again where there can be value.
Yes.
And it's not always just analyzing some data, developing some code. It's finding new ways to do things differently and giving them a chance. Trying them.
Absolutely.
Right? I love that. Yeah, we're always looking for new ways, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, sir.
Beautiful, man.
It's been a pleasure, man.
Absolutely. Always is.
Thanks for coming. Yes.
Appreciate
absolutely.
it, man.
Well, everyone, that will conclude this episode of Reminiscing. Don't forget to subscribe, comment, like, all those great things we do.
Need the vanity metrics
on social media. Yes, indeed. I know you guys will enjoy. Hopefully, have been able to listen to the whole conversation, enjoy the conversation, and take a lot out of it. Not only for folks that are seasoned professionals looking to do executive work, fractional executive work, but others in the industry now that this is evolving, and that you may in your career at some point want to be a fractional executive. So,
absolutely. Yes.
So great. Thank you, sir.
Thank you again, man. I appreciate it very much.
All right.
Have a good one.
Well, thank you for tuning in to Reminiscing and listening to the conversation with Chris Bosco. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. If you want to learn more about Chris Bosco, I put his LinkedIn information in the bio below. Remember to always be curious, consistently check out what you want to do with AI, and come to the next episode of Reminiscing. We got you covered.